Hope you're ready for this.
Gonna be fun.
You will not stand in my way.
Frostborn. Hunger. This pleases me.
I do not fear you, mortal.
Your soul shall be mine.
Don't make me laugh.
Needs a brew? Oh, I do. Feel a shredding, baby. Let the battle begin.
So hello and welcome to the 26th episode of Trollin HGC, a Heroes of the Storm podcast focused on esports, a member of the Trolls HGC Entertainment Network. I'm your host, LiQuid, and I'm joined today as usual by Bahgz. How's it going, man?
What up, dude? Happy to be here. Happy to have our guest here tonight.
We do have a special guest tonight. We have Roll20's captain, shot caller, drafter, and tank player, Justin. How's it going, man?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Good. I'm excited. This is going to be a fun show. We always like having people on. Like, we can definitely do the news, but having people on makes it even more fun. So thank you for coming, and hopefully we will have a good time.
It'll be fun for two of us. Justin's probably going to be exhausted by the time
Right.
we get him all these questions.
All these questions. That's all right. Hey, you know, you're wearing your Murky, and it's crazy because the hood's down, and all I can think of is a banana looking at that thing, like with the little ear hanging down. Or the like fin or whatever you call that thing. So yeah. Anyway, moving past that, I had to get that out of my system now. First, before we jump into anything, I want to thank all of our patrons over at patreon.com/trollsgg. It is a Patreon account that we share with the Nexus Trolls. All money that goes into that Patreon account comes back into the show, whether it is through giveaways we did at BlizzCon or whether it's through paying to get other things to improve the show. Whatever it is, that's what we spend all of that money on. We're not looking to make any money. So if you want to support us, go ahead and head over to patreon.com/trollsgg. And our troll of the week this week is Stixa. He is usually around, and he's also an amateur caster. I do not see him in chat tonight, probably because we're on Tuesday, not Wednesdays. But thank you, Stixa, for being our troll of the week. All right, Bahgz, you put like a whole bunch of news in here that we're going to go over. But I think
we've got a ton.
I think you want me to hit this news button first, right?
Well, if we could do that smoothly for the first time, maybe ever.
We can do that smoothly. Here we go.
Tonight on the Trolls.gg podcast network, Trollin HGC proudly presents Heroes Esports News, Notes, and Drama with your hosts, LiQuiud and Bahgz.
All right, man, go ahead. I'm going to let you, while you're drinking coffee, I'll take the first one. So Trolls.gg is looking for a graphic designer. We're also looking for someone that wants to win an emoji contest. If you have an emoji design that you want us to use on Trolls.gg, go ahead and email that to trollin@trolls.gg, and we will award you with some gift cards if you are the one that's picked. So now that those two like little things are taken care of,
Sorry about that.
it's all right, man. It's all right, man.
Spoodle and I are seeing Star Wars tomorrow, so I've got this up out in force, and I just wanted to make sure I'm nice and perky for the show we've got tonight. But now back on track. ANZ was announced that they're going to have an HGC league of their own next year. Now it's still a minor region, right? But it's better than what they were working with. So it's going to have two phases. It's going to similarly mirror the leagues that we already have in the major regions, but with a slight twist. I don't believe the players are going to be paid a salary. I think they're only competing for whatever the prize pool, which is 40K per phase. There's two phases. There's 8 teams in the league. All the matches are best of 3s. So that's another difference. Instead of best of 5s, they'll be doing best of 3s. It's double round robin. I think we already do per phase in our league. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yes.
The other difference is the bottom 2 teams in the new ANZ HGC league will automatically drop to open division after each phase, and the top 2 open division teams will automatically be promoted. So kind of similar to the league LCS, where before they went to the franchise model, similar to what they used to do. So the other interesting thing to note is the finals, and I had to say this twice on the Weekly Blizz last night. The finals for the NZ League in Phase 1 are going to be played in LATAM.
Yes.
Like
they have to be.
the top 2 teams are well, they don't have to be. What they could do is they could do the finals there and then just send the top team to wherever to compete that team from LATAM. But I get it because they're trying to make an event out of it, right? So they're trying to send more teams. So the top 2 teams won't play against each other, determine the best team in Australia until they travel to Latin America in phase 1. I'm assuming it's probably going to be in Brazil. They haven't announced a location yet. And then they'll get that from Latin America where they'll do a little tournament. The top 2 Australian teams play each other, determine a winner. The top 2 Latin American teams play each other, determine a winner. And then so on and so forth. They'll play each other to determine who will be the wild card team for the mid-season brawl.
Right.
At the conclusion of phase 2, same thing, except they're going to play in Sydney, Australia. So I guess Latin America gets a home tournament in one phase, and ANZ will get a home tournament in the second phase. Any thoughts on that, LiQuiuD?
I mean, it totally makes sense if you think about it, right? They're trying to league structure it a little bit more, and they already said late this year. Oh my God, I'm thinking it's 2018 right now, even though it's still 2017. But they said late this past season that the way they were going to structure it's a little differently. They were going to have only one team come from Latin America and ANZ, and then only one team from Taiwan and Southeast Asia, right? So it makes sense. It's a cool way to do it. I'm actually kind of happy they worked it out this way. It'll be interesting to see what Southeast Asia and Taiwan work out. But yeah, no, I'm happy with this. You know, it was one of the questions we were going to ask later, but Justin, now that you guys, I think it's pretty safe to say that we're going to see you guys at Midseason Brawl and at BlizzCon and at all the clashes. And I'm knocking on what I have for wood right here because I want to continue to see you guys do well. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about it being one less minor region team and one more major region team in general?
I think it should definitely be a good thing overall because I think what they were going for is they didn't really want to fly out the wildcard teams to just get destroyed in the first round like they pretty much always do.
Right.
So, I mean, it should make the tournaments more competitive for sure if it's more EU and more NA teams. I'm pretty excited for it. I think it's a good change for sure. Cool.
I share that thought. I'm excited to see what happens. I wrote down a thing earlier. How does it feel to know that you guys are going to be the team responsible to bring the third place NA team to the major, tournaments? I'm still hoping you guys stay number 1. So we're going to that's my thought. A lot of, I don't know how to put it. I do like DB Smiley's little polls all the time, and he's trying to do a media poll right now, and it's always Roll20 number 1, even though he gives me a ton of grief for it, but that's okay. I'm staying there. Yeah.
You gotta stay in the flames, man. You gotta stay in the flames. They're the hot team right now. You gotta stay in the flames.
Absolutely. And then we also had some HGC structure stuff. Things that for the most part we already knew. We knew that the clashes would be winner of the clash would bring one more team to them at the international lands, whether it was midseason brawl or HGC finals at BlizzCon. I don't know. I felt kind of let down by the announcement they made because it was like, hey, we're going to announce all this stuff. Oh, it's the stuff we already told you, even though, we definitely finished the summit already and we could tell you a lot more, but we're not going to. So nothing really jumped out at me other than the stuff we knew. I don't know. Bahgz, did anything jump out at you?
Yeah. So basically, and we already went over the clashes and how they're going to work. What I want to talk about is the transfer window is changing. Now, we don't know what the dates are yet, as far as I could find on the site and from that press release, but we do know that they're being completely overhauled in the respect that teams now can drop all 5 players and completely pick up 5 other players. With the team ownership changes, this is viable now. Yep. I just want to catch what do you think about this, LiQuiuD? Justin, either one of you chime in. I want your thoughts, and then I'll fill in with mine.
Go ahead, man.
I feel like it kind of shows that Blizzard's going more towards like organization owned everything sort of thing, especially with like the ownership changes that they made. It definitely points to that they're definitely they want it to be a better ecosystem for sponsors, which is a good thing for the long term for sure. As far as for me as a player, I don't really care too much about it because I'm not really expecting to get kicked or have my whole team kicked. So, but in general, I think it's probably a good change.
I mean, I think for the most part, you guys are relatively safe overall, right? I don't expect to see you guys completely get bombed out at all. I mean, unless all of a sudden you played, everybody like decided to lose their mind and play like garbage and then get booted, right? So I think that's pretty safe. I think it's interesting. This could have, how do I say this? Okay, anybody that's watched this show knows I have a serious hate on for Naventic. So this could have fixed Naventic at some point, right? Just kick everybody off the team, bring in 5 new players no matter what the case is, and call it a day. There absolutely was a case to be made for that, but they couldn't do it.
They couldn't afford 5 new players anyways.
Let's be honest. That's fair. That's true. But I do like that now. Now the team that owns the spot decides what to do, right? However that works out in the long run, whether it's somebody like GFE or whatever the case is, at least the org is still the org, which is good from a I want to cheer for somebody point of view. But for me, I'm more interested in the players than I am the team. So like if you took all 5 players off of Roll20, I'm not sure I would still follow Roll20. It's a cool org. The team was awesome, but if you kicked all the players, would I really care? Like if you booted everybody off, help me, Daz, because Bahgz, I'm not following enough basketball. Who's doing well?
Golden State Warriors.
Okay, right. Golden State's a good choice. Yeah.
Here's the difference though. It's not quite a 1-to-1 trade. I know. Like say with the Overwatch League, they're trying to get there where it's an apples to apples comparison, but it's not quite there. Esports is still a very player driven market, where traditional sports are you follow the team brand. Like if the Golden State Warriors completely dropped their entire roster and they went off into wherever else in the league and they picked up, just a bunch of free agents and built a new team, all the Golden State Warrior fans would probably be bitter and upset, but they'd still be Golden State Warrior fans. That's just how it is. You very rarely change teams. Now, basketball is a little bit different. It's a little bit more player centric in that they start 5 players. That's it. The players are big stars. That's what sells tickets in the league. But at the end of the day, most fans of the NBA are team fans. So it's a little different. I completely agree with you in the respect that if Roll20 were to drop their entire roster, I wouldn't be a Roll20 fan at all. I'm a Team Freedom. Same concept. If Team Freedom were to completely dump their entire roster, I'd probably follow Collusion or Nasmus wherever they go. Zug, I'd follow those guys and try and cheer for wherever they end up if they went as a 3-stack or just individually. That's the difference. But Blizzard with these changes are trying to head to a more stable league structure. It makes sense. It's a good feel. You're going to be, for the most part, seeing the same orgs over and over and over. Right. And it builds up that continuity but I don't know. It sucks for the players. They're not unionized right now. I don't know if that's something that's happening behind the scenes, but it really does put the players at a disadvantage where they can be dropped in mid-season and just at the whim of the organization, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's interesting because that leads into another kind of questionable thing. HGC Cheer is not going to be available right away. So are they waiting to get through phase 2 and see who survives, or are they struggling because of the problems that were with and who was that? Diamonds? Well, it was the team that is now Diamond Skin, and whether or not they got their cheer money. Like, I want to cheer. I want to send money to the people I want to send money to. Like, why are you not letting me do this? Playing Ducks moved into Diamond Skin, right? So
that's super depressing. That was to me like when that was just a little at the end of the press release. Like when I read that, I was really disappointed. I'm sure there's a reason. I don't know if it's the deal that the contract that they had with Twitch just ran out at the end of the season. Weren't able to renew it in time. If there were just some logistics they needed to change because of the issues that you just brought up arose. Right. I don't know. Justin, are you able to shed any light on that?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about it, so.
All right.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
Err on the side of caution and don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd rather you not get in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm okay with you saying I can't say anything. That's perfectly reasonable, right? Like I totally get it.
Listen, it helps people out. At least that means that something's happening in the background, right?
Right.
Confirmed.
Right.
HGC cheer changes are incoming.
All that matters is that that's the case. That they know about it and they know they need to do something, and they've told players about it and managers and all that jazz, right? So ultimately, that's in a good spot. Let's see. All right, go ahead, Daz. Bahgz. I keep calling you Daz, man. I'm a hot mess today because
It's the as at the end, you know.
and
the
it's
AZ.
7:30, man.
I have a G. Right. Just remember, I'm not Canadian and I don't finish on
Eh?
That's eh? You know,
All right.
So gin changes, eh? All right, I'm picking on Daz. I should stop. Ultimately, like with this whole press release for the structure changes, I'm a little disappointed. Like the only real update was the transfer window. It was all news we already knew. I guess you could say that the HGC cheer information was kind of news too, but not really. Like I was kind of hoping to find out more information about whether they were going to add another ban or not. Bakery had already alluded to it on Twitter that they weren't going to add a third ban, at least not until this year's midseason brawl.
Right.
But a confirmation on whether the map pool was changing or not changing, just staying the same. Are we going to get more lands? Like, would the Crucible be going to land? If they didn't announce it now, are we never going to find out if it's going to be a land? It was also worded in a way that it's kind of like an announcement about an announcement. So maybe there's more information coming down.
Well, there's got to be, right? They haven't released the rules. I'm going to go with the assumption that you guys discussed the rules at the summit, but they haven't released the rules. They haven't released the pool, the map pool. They haven't released, like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that hasn't been released yet. And knowing us, with our luck, they'll release it tomorrow. And we'll be like, damn it, we could have talked to Justin about all of this stuff. But they released it the day after the show, because that is how it works for us. No matter when if we'd done this tomorrow, they would have released it Thursday. So, the biggest thing and my biggest complaint is, like, announce the lands. I want to know where Western Clash is and when, so I can try and get tickets.
100%. As long as I know, like, roughly about a month in advance, I can block it out so I don't have work those dates, and I can,
right,
figure out the cash situation to make it happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, assuming it's in NA, we shouldn't jump to that conclusion. I know I've already made the assumption that the first West Clash is going to be in Burbank at the new pretty Blizzard.
Now, see, I think Gitboss is right. It's probably I am Katowice again. I would have still gone. Like, I would try to make that work. It's a struggle. It's definitely more, but I still would have tried to go. Or at least the brawl, right? Announce the brawl. Like, help people get enough time to travel to your events, please.
For sure.
All right. So let's the schedule's out, and we're just gonna talk week 1. And
yeah, I don't want to jump. I threw it in here just as like a fun little note. They just released it today.
So
I didn't. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say,
on your toes.
Roll 20's playing LFM. Okay. So besides, your first match being on Sunday against LFM, were there any matches? I don't know if you looked at the schedule closely at all, Justin, but were there any matches that you were like, oh man, this will be fun to watch, even though I'm not playing in it?
To be honest, I didn't really look at the schedule beyond like the first couple weeks. And that was just mostly for us.
Right.
So,
Okay.
Not really sure. I would like to see, whenever it happens, I want to see Freedom versus Tempo. I think that'll be good. I want to see who's second place.
Wait, hold on. Wait, because that automatically says GFE is in 4th, right? If I'm understanding that correctly.
We're gonna pose that question to you later, but I think that's a nice little preview.
I mean, shots fired. I think Argy's right too. I think Freedom Tempo is in week 3. All right, let's go ahead and, you know what? We'll skip the open division stuff. There were some things in that, and I'm gonna move that down to amateur, and we're gonna jump into the interview. How's that sound?
Sounds great with me, man.
All right, so I got a little button here that I can push for the interview. All right, so interview time. We have, all right, so Bahgz put a thread on Reddit a day or two ago and said, send us your questions. And then also in a number of Discords that we're on and said, send us your questions. And we got a ton of questions. So this is the Justin's going to talk a bunch for the next, I don't know, a little while because there are a lot of them. So, all right, I'm just gonna start. We're gonna kind of take it a little chronologically, and we're starting with, you know, how you got into Heroes and esports. But we're going even before that. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the great state of Wisconsin.
Okay. And how much? All right. So this person put, did you go to school for anything? But how much school did you do? Were you going to college for anything? When did you jump into esports instead? Like.
All right. So I only graduated high school. I went to normal public school until I was a junior, and then my junior and senior year I did a charter school thing for music, for like music production, because I hated traditional schooling. I just thought it was stupid and easy.
Okay.
A waste of time, pretty much. So I pretty much got away that I could make music on my laptop like half the day and spend the other half the day like researching stuff.
Yep.
So that's what I did for my last 2 years, and then tried a lot of stuff out, like a lot of different career choices, and just realized the one thing that I couldn't really give up was playing video games.
Cool. Okay, so outside of Heroes, what other interests do you really have?
I like pet my cats a bunch, hang out with them. I not so much because we've been traveling a bunch, but before I got really invested in HOTS, I was doing like trading, like day trading stuff, which was really fun.
Okay.
I was doing that. I was taking exercise stuff super seriously, like nutrition and exercise. I almost became a personal trainer and then realized that I'd rather play video games.
So I have to stop and ask you a question. So how is the working out and nutrition going now that you're a professional gamer?
It's completely cut off.
Okay.
I did like I was super into it, and I spent a lot of the time in my school just researching nutrition, and that was what I liked the most.
Okay.
And so that's what I thought I was going to pursue for the most part. It was like nutrition and like looking at charts for trading. And then I came up with what I thought was like the perfect meal plan, and I was super into it. And I did like a teen bodybuilding competition thing, and I was super like organic and natural. Like I tried to make like Tanner out of like chocolate powder or something. It was the most stupid thing ever. Like I went on stage just looking like an idiot because like I'm up against like all these like steroids kids with like pitch black steroids kids, like because they like got real tans and they like took a bunch of steroids, and I was like, I hate this. I hate everything about this. Like, I don't want to be. And then I like just kind of threw that in the trash, and then just haven't really exercised much since then. I was like,
are there pictures from that era, or did you destroy them all?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'll wait until I'm like 100 years old, maybe, then I'll release them. I have them somewhere.
I mean, you might be hearing about that on Twitter at this point. So, all right.
They kind of killed it for me. So basically, I was exercising a bunch. I was super fit and stuff, and then I started playing video games like 14 hours a day, and then just stopped.
Okay, fair enough. What has your favorite moment as a professional been so far?
It's probably either winning the set against Tempest. Like that was really satisfying.
Okay.
Before then, it probably would have been the mosh pit against Tempo in Poland.
That was a sick mosh. Yes.
That was my favorite moment. And then since then, it's either the Tempest win or it's actually a really weird thing. I was during BlizzCon, me and Buds went to Cheesecake Factory to get food like the day before we played, and some random guy at the Cheesecake Factory like recognized me and took a picture, and it was super weird.
That's
'cause I
pretty
never had-
awesome, though.
I was just like, oh, that's cool.
That's a feels good man moment.
Yeah, it was
right?
cool.
Like,
Because it never happened. I was like, whoa, that's weird.
So
yeah, like, did you look at Buds and be like, does this mean we made it?
I was just super sad because he didn't recognize Buds. But we just
Oh.
got our hair dyed, so. Well, we had purple hair too, so it wasn't like
yeah, it was purple
no
that
one
day.
saw that yet. No one had seen it by then, so
So was that Con before the storm day, or was that like between the? Yeah, it had to be Con
that
before
was
the storm,
before.
right?
I think that was before, like the day
Oh,
before.
really? Wow.
I think there was a day between when we got our hair dyed and because I think we didn't want to show it until then.
Right,
I'm pretty
right.
sure. Yeah, so it was the day before, so that's probably why he was like looking at me like, is that
Right.
like, 'cause my
I
hair's
think
purple?
that's
He's
him.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What? So besides like the obvious, I want to win BlizzCon. What other goals do you have as a professional Heroes of the Storm player?
I want to pretty much just enjoy the experience, and for me right now, it's just I had like a lot of things that I really wanted to do, but my one like childhood dream, I guess, was just being like a pro gamer and competing at international events. So now I'm doing that. So now I'm just kind of enjoying the experience, I guess, just having
Awesome.
fun is the biggest thing for me.
Okay. Let's see. What's the toughest part of being a pro HOTS player?
It's not so tough for me, but it could be tough for some people, which is just like you pretty much just don't have a social life outside of the game. Like
Okay.
I have a lot of friends that I like play with, and my team. I'm really good and close friends with my team, but like probably part of what makes me and my teammates a lot better than some players is just like there are sacrifices you have to make. Like if you play the game a lot, you don't really have much time to do much else.
Right,
So,
right,
that's
right.
the thing.
Let's see. Have you thought about life after HOTS?
A little bit. I don't know, I guess, for sure what I'm gonna do, but
Okay.
I think high probability I go do trading stuff. That's most likely what I'll do.
I have this whole line of questioning I want to get into with trading about currencies and stuff, but I'm gonna leave that alone because like nobody on this show would be interested in that. All right, so we got 2 questions or 3 questions out of Twitch chat. Are you a cheesehead?
Like a Packers fan?
Yes.
Not really. I mean, I live
Okay.
in Wisconsin. Well, I never really watched football. I tried watching it with my dad. He loves football.
Okay.
But I would rather just go play video games. So since that was usually an option, it was like watch football or play video games. I just played video games.
Right. Okay.
Well,
Well,
hopefully State Farm comes calling, or Allstate, or whichever it is, and they come, and you can be the discount double check for eSports, man.
There you
That's what I
go.
want.
There you go. What is your cat's name?
I have many cats. I have 4 cats. I have the gray tuxedo cat that you can't see, but he's next to me on the bed. His name is Munchie. So I've got 2 boy cats and 2 girl cats. I've got the gray tuxedo cat Munchie, the black tuxedo cat Leo, the black tuxedo cat that's a girl that's name is Springy, and the little stripy tiger cat that's name is Gur.
Okay. Awesome.
Like
Stripy
Gur,
tiger
like
cat named Gur, like
G-R-R-R?
yeah.
Like GIR, but
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
Have multiple meanings for some reason because I do that, I guess.
No, that's fine. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Top 5 favorite animes.
Pokemon. That's it.
There you go. I can live with that
Period.
answer. Just Pokemon. Period. All right. So now we're gonna jump into BlizzCon. How did it feel? So at Con Before the Storm, the night before BlizzCon proper started, but after the week of pre-games at the Anaheim Arena, how did it feel walking in and like there was a huge crowd waiting at the Roll20 table? And I'm not knocking Freedom or Tempo, but like their crowds were tiny, and you guys had like the line was always there, waiting to get you guys to sign stuff. So like, how was that?
It was definitely cool. It was super weird. Like I didn't honestly even know that we had that many fans until then, because the other events we went to were in Europe where we had no fans. So
Right.
Yeah.
it was it was pretty cool. It was definitely different. It was really cool to see like that many people actually supported us and like bought jerseys and got stuff signed. So that was really cool. I wish it would have been, I don't know, not so rushed, I guess, because it felt like, I don't know, it felt really weird because it was like a shirt signing conveyor belt. It wasn't like I was actually like getting to meet everyone, because everyone was like, I'm waiting in line. Yeah, like sign this now. And it was like going really fast trying to like sign everything, which felt really, I don't know, like it just felt weird to me, but it was good though.
Now I'm torn because I grabbed you guys right before you started that, so it was cool because I had like 3 minutes where it was just Bahgz, me, and the 5 of you, and you guys all signed my shirt. But like, people, don't do that. Like, don't take that idea and run with it, because it didn't work out so well for everybody. But no, I totally get it. I mean, the line was massive, and so it was literally like I saw people at the Tempo Storm, and they'd hang out with Fury or hang out with Psalm, and like they would talk to him for a while. And I'm looking at your table, and like the line was out the door, and like, what are you supposed to do? You have to just keep letting people cycle through, because you guys were only going to be there for so long. And I thought that, honestly, I thought the size would be a little closer to even between all 3 tables, but it was clear that like everybody wanted the Roll20 swag and they wanted it signed, and nobody, like, it was cool. I thought it was interesting to see the disparity and how popular you guys were, because you definitely were a popular team there. That was kind of cool. What?
Speaking of which, you guys absolutely electrified the crowd when you beat Tempest, and when you took Ballistics as far as you did, the crowd was behind you guys. How was that? Like, what was it like playing at BlizzCon? Like sitting down behind that computer and like peeking over the monitor and being like, God damn, there's 4,000 people out there right now. Like, what was that like? Like, tell me.
That was definitely amazing. It was something I've wanted to do for a long time, play on the BlizzCon stage. It was almost surreal to me, I guess, that we got to do it, because just a year ago, I was on like 8th place team or something, 7th place team, 5th, 6th, something like that. So it was really cool to be able to go and play on stage, and I really didn't even know, I guess, until then, that a crowd like that in HOTS existed. Like,
dude, that crowd was crazy. And I'm not joking when I say when you guys won. So we met some cool guys that were hanging out with us both days, because we were like front and center both days at the stage. The Bahgz and this other guy were literally jumping up and down, holding each other's arms, like celebrating when you got like in a circle. It was crazy to watch. It was awesome because like the entire crowd went nuts when you won. And like they were all screaming the whole time you guys were playing. Like it was awesome. It was, being there and sitting there was so cool. And then just like Bahgz and this other dude were dancing around in a circle, like celebrating because you guys won. And it was like, oh my God. It was insane. It was insane. And Yip Boss, next year I'll save you a seat. You can sit with us at BlizzCon. We'll always be front and center anyway. All right. So I've gone back and forth on whether I'm going to ask this question, but I'm going to ask it because it came up a lot. A lot of people in the community, especially on Reddit, have talked about the Lost Vikings pick at BlizzCon. Yip Boss already tackled it a couple weeks ago when he was on and said that, you know, that was the pick. You guys had a draft in mind. You'd practiced. You'd had success. You still thought you'd be okay with it, like you guys as a team. So you guys were going to move forward with it and see what happened. I can actually completely accept that question, or that answer, but a lot of people are still asking and want to hear it from you because you are the man in charge of the draft. So can you like put that to bed forever? Like, is that what happened, or, you know? Yeah.
Right. So the Vikings pick all started with our Dignitas set. So we played Dignitas, and we get on stage. We have a draft plan for Dignitas on Shrines. We had a plan for if they picked Abathur, and basically we get on stage and they pick Abathur first pick, which I think it was first pick, but we didn't expect them to pick it so early, and we had a plan for it. Like, I had a plan in my notebook. I was all ready to, you know, do the thing. But as soon as that happens, like I think like 1 or 2 people are like saying like, oh, they picked Abathur, we need a global, like we need to pick a global or something. And like, I have a plan, but that's not part of the plan. And basically something that, and then we ended up losing because we picked a global early and it like messed up our whole draft plan. So basically something that changed from like the start of the like tournament to like the end was we had plans that were really good before we got there, but they would get messed up by, I would take way too much input in the middle of like on stage, someone would say something and it would take like way too much input, so we had to change how we dealt with that. So basically by the end, it was like, whatever we have written down, whatever our plan is, we're just gonna do that for the most part, because every time we tried to make like changes, it just like messed everything up pretty much.
Right, right.
So basically, also another reason for it was, so that was one of our plans. We had like a couple cheeses that we could do, but that was the one that we decided on before. The biggest reason we ran it to begin with was because, so the first game against Ballistics was on BOE, which we had a cheese. It was the Samurai cheese.
Yep.
It went good. That worked. And then the second game was a lot more standard. It was the Garrosh Diva thing, but it was cheesy, but it was pretty much a standard draft. Like it plays like a normal game, like still pretty standard. So we lost that game, and I pretty much felt like that was our game to win. Like that was pretty much as standard as our drafts got, and we were pretty much, if we played better, if we were the better team, we would have won. Like we'd practiced that a bunch. So basically, after we lost, going like as standard as we run, it was like we might as well just cheese because we don't beat them standard.
Right.
Yeah, and then they locked in like the perfect counters to it because somehow they knew that our comp that didn't look anything like a Vikings comp was a Vikings comp, and they picked the Haka Zeratul, which was really weird. And I like looked to Goku, and I'm like, Goku, like, I'm like, that's kind of scary. Like, do you think we should still do this? And he was pretty much just like trust the plan or whatever. And I was like, all right, you're right. So it's like a lot of props to Goku, I guess, just for trusting me, and it's mostly just my mistake. So if anyone wants to flame us for it, just flame me.
Well, so it's interesting. Like we're sitting in the crowd, and I'm like, okay, this could still in theory work if you have this piece or you have this piece. Like, it was weird. It like even if the game is starting, right, and people sitting next to me were big Korean fans, mostly of MVP Black, who's now KSV Black, and so I'm looking at Bahgz. I'm like, no, this could still work if the Vikings play like real passive and just soak, and like you adjust how you play the Vikings. Potentially this could work because if Zeratul's not getting picks, then it doesn't really matter, and you can use your soak advantage, and the 4-man has to be like. Potentially, if the 4-man was strong enough, it still could have worked out. It just, they had the exact counter to that. So it was like everything had to line up perfectly. But yeah, it makes sense to go with the plan, like, especially if you've been practicing the plan. It's interesting. I know some amateur teams out there who are like, no. Let's not go into draft with a plan. Let's just be reactive to the other team. And when you go down that hole, like weird things happen where you're like, okay, now I need to talk to the whole team and I have to figure out the draft. And, I took too much input, like you said. And so now you're like, you finding that perfect middle ground is difficult, but not finding that middle ground and going one way or the other can also be problematic, just depending on how you match up against another team. But yeah, yes. Thank you for answering it. I know a lot of people ask about it, and I'm sure you hear it all the time. So I'm sorry, but like everybody wants to know that story, right? Okay, so we're gonna jump into Gold Club World Championship now. What was it like going to China?
China was nice. Where we were, at least, was really nice. It was weird. Like everything there was a little different. When I went to Europe, I went to Poland and Sweden, everything was kind of the same, but just different, like a little bit different. It was just kind of like United States light or something. But when I went to China, everything was totally different in China. It was just the weirdest thing ever. It was like everything was like America, but like backwards or something. Like it was just really strange. It was cool though.
That's awesome.
USA.
So I guess here's the question. So in tournaments past, there have been horror stories from GCWC about like scrims not being able to happen because the hotel's not set up or your scrim place isn't set up. Or I remember last year there were a lot of issues. The year before there were a lot of issues. Did you guys have a lot of problems, or was it pretty smooth this time around?
No, it was extremely smooth. I'd say production wise and like accommodation wise, like pretty much everything about the tournament besides our play was even better than BlizzCon, like by quite a bit even.
Okay.
Like the hotel room was insane. The setup that we had in the practice area was awesome, like really good too. We
Awesome.
had like 5 computers set up well. We had like actual rooms that had doors on them, which was not the same
Oh,
as
instead of
BlizzCon.
the little like
Curtains.
curtains.
Yeah, it was much better. We didn't have people like spying on us during all of our games. Yeah, it was just way better. Like we had our hotel room, and then we just go downstairs to the practice area, and then also groups were in the same hotel too. It's
Oh,
just a
that's
different
awesome.
floor.
So yeah, you
everything
didn't
was
have
in
to
the
like.
hotel, and then yeah, until the very end, in the finals, we're
Right.
at the Cube,
Right.
where we literally just walked across the street. Like the Cube was just like right in front of my window at the hotel.
Damn, that is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, it was super nice.
So
Cool is the cube, by the way, because it looks phenomenal in photos.
Yeah.
And is it close to that like spaghetti looking thing, that spaghetti looking stadium too that they had from Beijing?
Oh, the inside is a little weird. It's not like really what I would have expected. It's just like really industrial looking. Like it could host anything, I guess.
Okay.
Like they could just put whatever they want in there. The outside is pretty cool. It does look like a big water cube. It's pretty weird. And then I think the stadium you're talking about is behind it. Like from my hotel room, I could just see like the top of it sticking out.
cool.
Yeah.
So let me ask a different question. So I love watching Korean and Chinese HOTS because they're playing in their little soundproof rooms with the air conditioner in it, right? So having played in BlizzCon and having played there, which environment would you prefer to compete in? The soundproof stage room or the stage where you like the crowd can go nuts and you can hear it?
I definitely prefer the soundproof room.
Okay.
Just because, I don't know, it just feels more like private and isolated. Like if they don't get the soundproofing headsets right, you can you can't hear what the enemy team is saying, but like you can sometimes hear the enemy team if they're yelling loud enough. So
Right.
it's like you're the lone, like on some stages, you're the lone Brightwing, like soaking minions, and then someone starts screaming to gank you, and you just back up. Like
Right.
you can tell something's happening. It's like I don't know what's going on, but I'm the only one. I'm just hanging out here. Like I think I leave now.
When you hear Brightwing, it's like shit,
Yeah.
time to go.
Yeah, you just hear the floor start shaking. You just back up. You just leave. That
Cool.
didn't happen.
Okay. See, I feel the same way, and I've always wondered why. Like, I get that it's more difficult to set up, but I feel like that would be the way to do things like mid-season brawl, BlizzCon, and even the clashes. Like, you have the stage room, it's a plexiglass box. It can't be that hard. In that,
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. I won't keep going down that path because it's just my own personal opinion. What is the biggest thing you think the team learned from GCWC, and the biggest thing that you either as like an individual player or as like the shot caller, captain, etc., learned out of the GCWC?
I think we learned a lot of things. I think we pretty much learned the same things that we would have learned after either our first international event, which would be the Clash.
Yep.
Or after like maybe a couple months of HGC. Basically, it just sped up all the issues that would have taken a long time to come out. I think came out at GCWC, especially because we were such a new roster.
Right.
I think individually, we like discussed it afterwards at the summit. Individually, we all have like things that we can work on, that we need to work on, that we maybe didn't know we needed to until GCWC brought them out.
Right.
And just playing in NA and scrims, they weren't really apparent, but once we went there and played against the actual best teams in the world, those problems come out pretty fast.
See,
yeah.
To me, that's awesome because, like, that's what you needed right before going into 2018, right? You guys have now worked out some of the little issues, and you can come into 2018 like even stronger than you are right now, which is amazing.
Trent and I brought this up last week on the show. It's going to be super beneficial that you got to go to GCWC and exposed to all these really high caliber teams that you don't get to play on a weekly basis like you do in NA. It's just I feel like and we'll see how the first phase plays out, but it's like if you guys come out really dominant, I almost feel like that is more hurtful to you guys than having a team that can really push you. You need like that Dignitas to your Fnatic or that Ballistics to your MVP Black to really, really push you guys and kind of, take it to the next level,
Yeah, I hope that either I mean, any of like the 3 big teams, like Gale Force, Tempo, or Freedom. I hope that one of them at least can challenge us, because we haven't scrimmed since we got back, so I don't know how good everyone is right now. I have a decent idea of how they were before we left, but we had a pretty high win rate in scrims before we left, like probably like over 70% or something.
Wow.
Maybe higher. So we weren't really, none of these issues were coming out then. So that's just kind of like a constant NA issue, I guess, is we don't have the best scrim partners. Like, we don't have a Dignitas Fnatic to scrim against every time. Because I think that's probably the most beneficial part about going to China, is we were able to scrim like KSV, Dignitas, and Ballistics pretty much every day.
So how bad is the ping if you guys play on EU servers?
I guess it probably depends where you are, because like for me, I think with the VPN, it's maybe like 100, 110 maybe, which isn't that bad. It definitely feels worse than that though.
Right.
And for like someone like Dansky, he lives in California, it would probably be a lot higher than that.
Okay.
So it's not really an option, I think.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, so when you guys were playing SBT and you picked up Joe on Infernal Shrines, what was the thought process behind that pick? I mean, I personally love her, but somebody somewhere asked this question, so I felt obligated to ask it.
So that was kind of like a reactive pick to them showing a bunch of CC tanks, and basically, and also ETC. I think we had low interrupts for Mosh Pit, so it was possibly going to be a Diva pick. Like, that was something I considered. I probably should have played Diva in hindsight, but against their comp, it looked pretty scary to pick Diva into that, because ETC is slide. Like, I don't know, their comp was just super. Their comp was really good against Diva, so I didn't really want to play Diva. I figured that if I picked Joe, we just had the stronger range damage dealers, that I should be able to not die in the front line, and basically, if we fight just like a front to back fight, our 2 range damage dealers should be able to just out DPS their tanks more than they can out DPS ours.
Right.
That was the idea, but obviously we made a lot of mistakes, and that's not how it went down. We were supposed to just out sustain them, like play like slow fights. If we survive their burst, just have way more damage than they had, because we had Greymane Gul'dan against Solo Jaina. But it just didn't work out.
Okay.
Before we transition out of this real quick, I wanted to ask you, after 2-0ing SPT in groups, like, do you think the patch change was the biggest difference maker into, you know, what happened in the first round there in playoffs, or was it just they showed you something different?
No, I don't think the patch change really had anything to do with it. I think we, for the most part, just beat ourselves throughout the tournament. I think if we didn't have to play the whole week before, I think we actually probably would have done a lot better. We got a lot of really good practice, but I think everyone by the end of it was starting to get extremely burnt out and really frustrated, because when you get really close to winning a lot and just don't win, and you lose a lot, and you also scrim literally the first, second, and third place teams like 6 hours plus a day, like 7 hours a day, and you don't have the greatest win rate, that kind of gets to you, I guess. So I feel like also we just come off of BlizzCon. I think it was mostly just everyone was just really burnt out by that point, and we just weren't playing our best at all.
Okay.
But, like, against SPT and scrims, we went like 12-0.
Oh,
and then we went on
Jesus.
stage and we just got bodied. So it's like, I don't know. Like, they played really well. That's pretty much it.
I wouldn't want to be publicly visible after that. I'd be super salty.
Yeah, it was pretty sad.
All right. Last question in the GCWC, and that really is, what did you like better, BlizzCon, GCWC, or they both had their things?
I think BlizzCon I enjoyed more because it was the first LAN that I went to, so I wasn't like homesick already when I got there. Also, there's no jet lag, so that's a big bonus, because it's not like we boot camped in China. Like, it's a 14-hour time difference. It's by far the worst jet lag I've had compared to any of the other Europe places I've gone. It's not even comparable. The jet lag is awful from China to US.
Okay.
So that kind of sucked. And just how we performed at BlizzCon was a lot better. So I prefer BlizzCon as far as like the overall experience, but as far as like the actual event, China was infinitely better. Like, the food was better, the setup was better, the lodging was better, like the venue was probably better. Like, pretty much everything about the event was just better.
Okay.
aside from just like our own personal stuff, just like not playing as well and being
Right.
burnt out and jet lag.
Well, and it's rough, right? It's always been rough to do that tournament because it happens basically right after BlizzCon. You get, I think, like 10 days before you have to fly out to China. That's rough. You know, I mean, like, there's no... The Korean teams and the Chinese teams obviously have an advantage because they're returning home to their time zone, so they're not... They're reverse jet lagged for BlizzCon, but they're coming back to their time zones, right? So
yeah, weeks in advance too. It's not like right away.
Right. How is the I know we were gonna move on, but this is actually a good question from chat. How is the crowd in China?
I was just gonna ask that.
So for our games against SPT, there was no crowd because there wasn't a crowd yet. Like there weren't tickets yet.
Okay.
For like the very first day. I think there was only I think it was 2 more days after that, right? So the very first day didn't have like seating. So there was no one for ours. But then I went and I watched the finals, and it was like completely packed, like it's completely sold out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
From Chinese hots, not dead.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so jumping into the 2018 season, this question actually came up a number of times. What makes Justin and Bahgz such a great team, and how can amateurs improve their tank support synergy?
Just play the game together a lot and be willing to both give and receive criticism. That's probably the biggest thing. Like when we were new, I wouldn't really give people much criticism just because I didn't feel like that was my place. But like, I'll flame the hell out of Bahgz. Like, I don't know, I know him really good. Like, he fucks up. Like, I'm gonna call him out on it. So like, just because I know him so well, I know he's not. It's not like he's gonna be like, this Justin guy's such a dick. Like,
Right.
He's not gonna. I don't know. Like, I've known him for like ever. So, just giving criticism, being willing to give and receive criticism is really important, and just playing the game as much as you can.
Okay. And then kind of similar, but a little different. How much impact does that synergy between the two of you have on the team's success?
I guess that kind of depends on what the meta is. Like the most recent meta, I feel like the tank has maybe a lot less impact than it has in previous patches. Like I think the at the start of the year, like the Poland and Sweden patch, I feel like those patches were very tank centric, and I could just like rely on him having good cleanses for my mosh pits and stuff like that to just win games. And I feel like the meta now is a lot different. So I feel like we're not as impactful. I feel like the ranged damage is really important, and the support is still really important. So he can still kind of carry us, but I guess it depends on the meta for the most part. But whenever there are like strong combos like D-Shield mosh pit, stuff like that, it's always really good to have that synergy, like Lucio Arthas, things like that.
Right. Let's see here. What is your favorite wombo combo in the game?
It's not really relevant, but it's probably Earthquake APOC.
I like that. Earthquake APOC. All right. So, yeah. Okay. This kind of plays in the next sort of. And I know some of these are HGC, some of them are kind of generic heroes related, but who do you think the top 3 tanks for coordinated play are at the moment? Like on this patch as of last week? I think they dropped it. Realizing you haven't been in scrims, but
yeah. It's hard to say. Probably just whichever ones have a stun. It probably hasn't really changed much, to be honest. It's probably fairly situational. I would assume it's just like it's probably just like ETC and Meriden.
Right.
Maybe like like probably the same ones as before.
When
I'm
are we
not really sure.
When are we gonna see Dahaka come back?
Did Dahaka leave?
Wait. I can't believe I just did that. I was reading a comment and said Dahaka. When are we gonna see Diablo come back? No, Dahaka hasn't left. Dahaka's here for life.
Where'd he go?
Right? I'm sorry, man. I totally meant Diablo there, and I don't know why I said Dahaka.
He brush talked away.
I don't know. Maybe you'll see it. I would assume the globe changes should be pretty good for him, and I'm definitely having fun with him in Hero League, but I don't know how good he'll be.
Okay. Let's see here. Do you think... Okay. Do you really think that Garrosh's ban is really such a high priority in Hero League?
Yes.
Okay.
On most maps. Maybe not on all maps. Like, on the really big maps, probably not. Like, if you're playing... I don't know. It kind of depends. I'd like to say that it depends on what rank you're in, but I feel like it really doesn't. Because for whatever reason, if you leave Garrosh up against Grandmaster players, he just kills everyone.
Right.
And then if you leave it up against, like, low-level players, he still kills everyone. So, I don't know. I had to level an account in China from, like, low plat up, because my account was really bad. The account they gave me didn't have any MMR.
Okay.
So I found I actually lost a lot with Garrosh because just flipping people isn't enough in lower MMR. This is like plat too, like so
right.
It's not really low, but in plat even. I had one game where I literally flipped 2 people per minute for 15 minutes, and we didn't get a single fort, like, because I'd kill them, but we wouldn't siege. We would just like run around and hang out afterwards. So like, I feel like it's probably not that good in lower, like in like the middle MMR, but I feel like at the very high and the very low, he's probably too OP.
Okay.
Like you should ban him probably.
Okay. On
small maps.
Excellent. Let's see. I'm not gonna ask you the one about scrims because you guys haven't scrimmed since you got back. All right. So we've had some time to analyze the early game changes with this last patch. You may or may not be ready to answer this question, but what is the aspect of the change that an average Heroes player has missed or discounted or undervalued, like bruiser camps, or how important macro play now is even more imperative because of the way the tower changes are? Like, what do you think that most people are going to miss that on week 1 it's going to be like, holy crap, I didn't even think about letting it play out that way, or why isn't my team doing that?
Since I haven't scrimmed, I guess I'm not 100% sure, but
right.
I feel like just from playing the game, playing the map is somehow more important than before. I didn't really think that was possible, but there's probably going to be a lot of just anti-fun cheese stuff. Like, I don't know, I feel like Sylvanas might even be good. Like, I don't know, sure, let's throw Asmodan into HGC, I don't know.
Right.
Like, I feel like the camps are way too strong, and that's probably going to get toned down, I would hope. And also minions doing so much damage to structures is kind of ridiculous, so I don't really know. I hope that it's better to kill the heroes that are pushing than it is to just, like, throw yourself out your buildings and, like, push. But I guess we'll see.
See, I feel like the push game is really strong right now, especially with minions. Or not just minions, but, like, the bruiser camps are absurdly powerful now.
Yeah, like, I think if I wanted to get rank 1 GM right now, I would honestly just become an Asmodan one trick, but that's not really good practice, so I'm not going to do that. That'd probably get me there real quick. I probably wouldn't lose.
And anybody watching this, please don't do that, because you ruin everybody's game. Like, just don't. Like,
but they're leaving Genji up, so that's good.
Right.
And Valera seems really busted.
Oh, Valera is totally busted, and I'm so sad because I love Valera so much, and I know they're going to nerf her into the ground again.
Yeah, it feels like all the stealth heroes are, like, better. I actually really like what they did with the stealth heroes. I don't know if you're going to ask about that at all, but I actually think it's, like, perfect.
I wasn't, but let's talk about it. I mean...
I feel like what they did is actually perfect, because the stealth heroes, besides Zeratul, were pretty much all just useless in competitive games. And in quick match and, like, just not super competitive games, the stealth heroes were super annoying because they would just come out of nowhere, especially if you don't have, like, a great computer. You can't actually see them at all. So then that was super annoying, and that was why it was probably changed. But then in high-level play, you're pretty much never stealthed at all. So I actually feel like the changes are really good on both ends. It's really good because it's not punishing if you have a bad computer and you're, like, not paying attention for the shimmer. And then in pro play, you actually have the option to be invisible by just standing still. Right. So I feel like they actually did, like, the best change they could have done in that aspect. I think that's really good.
I love the standing still, you can't see me change so much. It gives you the opportunity to really make a play. But But you have to plan ahead, right? So you have to get the team to force the other team through a choke point where you're waiting, like just sitting in wait to just like pounce. It'll be cool. I'm looking forward. The problem is I think they'll nerf some of the damage coming from the stealth heroes before the 19th, so we won't get to see what you guys can really do with them. Which is what I was really looking forward to, but we'll see. We'll see how it makes it. Let's see here. Well, actually, you just covered that. So we're just going to go with what 3 main points of improvements for Roll20 to win the Western Clash, having interacted with Fnatic. So, okay. Sorry, this was worded badly, and I didn't go through them all. What do you think the 3 main points of improvement that Roll20 needs to make to win the Western Clash, having interacted with both Fnatic and Dignitas at BlizzCon and at GCWC?
Just like what we need to change?
Yes.
Basically?
Yeah.
We need to, the biggest things, this is kind of a broad thing, but I think we're going to be looking for some kind of a coach. So, I don't know.
Hell yes!
Tell a friend or something. I don't know.
Oh my god, that's going in Help Wanted tonight. All right.
Yeah, so we're looking for some kind of a coach or something similar to that, coach analyst sort of thing, because right now it's just us, and it was made kind of apparent mostly because of Noblesse being an actual draft god that only does draft, so they just don't lose draft ever, KSV that is. They have a huge advantage. It's literally 6v5 because they have the extra player that drafts only, so that kind of showed us how important it is. So we're looking for that. That should help a lot. Otherwise, mostly just playing off of each other, like being able to gain that synergy between each other, and then just improving our comms was the biggest thing.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. There's only like 3 more questions left in this, and then we're going to jump into miscellaneous. If you could instantly recruit anyone for Roll20, regardless of the region, who would you pick? And it can't be Noblesse for coach. Probably Reset. He's a monster. Oh shit. Oh, yeah, boss just said you spilled the beans on the coach analyst part. All good. All good.
Coach us, yeah.
So, yeah, all right. Reset would be a good choice. That would be awesome. Reset. Let's see here. Would you like to see HGC go to LAN? I think I know the answer to that, but go for it.
No, just kidding. Yes, that'd be really good.
Right. Okay, but would you be willing to move to make that happen?
Yes, if Blizzard was willing to pay us more to move.
Okay. Okay.
Because otherwise, I don't think I could afford to live in California, to be honest.
Right. I mean, that's the problem, right? It would end up being in California, and then what do you do? All right. And the last question I have, and then we're going to let Bahgz go through the miscellaneous questions. How do you feel about third bans?
I don't think that's really relevant. I think that's just an excuse for, like, I don't know. I feel like that's just not needed at all. The issue with it is there's so few relevant supports and tanks that you would just choke a team out of one or the other every single game, and it would just be a huge problem.
Okay.
Or you'd have to pick it super early every time, because there's usually only like a very small number, like less than 4 relevant tanks and supports at any given time. So
right.
You'd pretty much just ruin everything.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Bahgz, shoot, we're on the miscellaneous.
All right, man. I wish we had Bakery here to provide a counterpoint to that, but we don't. So I'm gonna dive in. Do you have a favorite non-North American player?
Other than Reset.
You mean just in general?
Yeah,
just a favorite player, man. It could be your best. You don't even like. It doesn't have to be the best player. It's just
probably,
a favorite.
Probably Soap from SPT. He's cool. Yeah, he's Pizza King.
Awesome.
Pizza. He's cool.
Pizza.
Wait. How was the pizza in China?
It was good. It was better than NA pizza.
No. Listen, I'm from New York. I don't buy it.
All right. It was better than cheap NA pizza.
There you go.
All right. There you go. Is better than Red Baron's?
The cheap China pizza was better than the cheap American pizza.
All right. What's the team mentality when it comes to communication? How do you guys communicate with each other outside of game? Does that translate to in the game? Like, would you guys consider yourselves to be more than just teammates? Like, I guess what this person was asking, do you consider yourself friends outside? Like, are you just teammates? Like, is it just business, or is it a little more personal than that? I don't know. And do you guys do any sort of team building exercises to prepare for matches?
I definitely say that we're all good friends. Like the three of us from Roll20 that were left are like really close. Obviously, like me and Buds are close, but I'm close with Koku too. We're good friends. And the new members, they're meshing really well. Like I don't know, like Dansky's kind of like my lost troll brethren. He like goes in the, I don't know, he's everything he says is super funny, so it's really easy to like play with him and like hang out with him outside of games. Like when we were at the summit, I was with him a lot, and he's just like super funny, and he's like, I don't know, he like go in the elevator and he'll just like, we'll be in the elevator together and he'll like push like 3 buttons and get out, and then we'll just be like stuck in the elevator. Like he just like trolls all the time. Like this one time we were in China. He's gonna hate that I like say this, but we were in China and his computer was next to mine, and we're like playing Hero League and we got in the same game, and I was like, we're like laughing and like having a good time, and then out of nowhere he just turns and sneezes on me, and I was like under normal like circumstances I'd be like, oh look, I literally just started laughing like super hard. Like he's such a troll that I just, for whatever reason, my mind just thought he was still trolling. Like I didn't even like react. I was just laughing super hard, and then I was like, oh, this is really gross actually. Like he's just such a troll. Like he's like I can't help it, I got ganked. He's like, when I'm at home I always just sneeze away from myself. Like he's like, it was a reaction, I was getting ganked. I'm like I don't know, like, so
what does sneezing have to do with dying?
I don't know, he saw someone coming, he had to sneeze, so he just sneezed right like on me, and I was like, I don't know, afterwards it was gross, but it was just like the funniest thing ever for some reason. Like because he's just always trolling. So I get really along really well with Dansky, and I've known Kira for a decent while, and we've always been like good. So I bring up Dansky because I didn't really know him until now, so he's meshing super well, and I've known Kira for a pretty long time, and he's always really cool. He's pretty chill.
I want to jump a question real quick because we have a question specifically about Dansky. When is he going to become a Pokemon, and which one?
I'm not sure when we'll next become Pokemon. Probably at the next event, unless we decide to do some other gimmick. If he is a Pokemon, he had one picked, but he didn't do it, kind of by the nature of his Pokemon. I don't remember what it's called. It's whatever the sloth Pokemon is.
Okay.
That's what he used to be. I don't remember what its name is, but surprisingly, the sloth Pokemon didn't do it. He's just a sloth. I don't know.
He's just a sloth.
he's just a living meme.
Pretty much.
So jumping back to that, like, so you guys are all friends. I get that. I wanted to ask you, you're the captain. And traditionally at least in football, the quarterback always gets like the lineman like watches, or like Adrian Peterson once got the Vikings lineman a bunch of snowmobiles. Do you guys get like, I don't want to be a bag of Funyuns right now and like ruin the team chemistry, but like, did you guys get each other Christmas gifts, or at least like some loot boxes or something?
No.
Oh no!
Not even Christmas yet. Wait a second.
Yeah, you got time, man. You got time.
Yeah, we got
you have
6 days.
You have 6 days. Well, I mean, maybe you're not panicking, but like I had 2 gifts come in wrong for my girl, and then like I'm like freaking out how to make that right before I run out of time. So, all right. The next question I wanted to ask you is like, and I don't think this is all of it, but as a tank, what do you focus on during a team fight? Like, do you have like a priority checklist as far as like peeling, engaging? Like, can you elaborate on that? Does it vary from character to character?
It definitely depends on a lot of things, like what hero I'm on, for example, or what our comp is designed to do versus what their comp is designed to do. But in general, if I'm on like Murden or something and we have like follow up to one shot, I'm typically calling my stun cooldown, like who I'm looking at. I'm obviously calling the target when I throw my stun out, but in general, I'm always just calling kind of, I'm usually calling like what side of the fight we should move towards and stuff like that, and like more zone oriented stuff, like trying to like call for us to like regroup and stuff like that. Like I'm trying to call like a lot of like not necessarily targets, but just like zone things, like area things. Like we should go here, we should spread out, like care for this, care for that. Like they have this, like stuff like that. So it's probably a little different from other people's comms. It's more like trying to play like a RTS or something with my comms in team fights. A little not that extreme.
Micromanaging to a degree.
A little bit, but it's more like just making sure that the team is all on the same page in team fights.
All right, that's insightful, I feel. Now, here's a good question. Is it the individual skill level of each member, or is it the team synergy that makes Roll20 such a strong North American team? So is it the individual talent of all the parts, or do the parts come together to make a whole that's greater than the parts, so to speak?
I think that it's probably a combination of both. I think that all of us are at the top, if not like very close to the top, if not the best in our role. So I think that helps. But HOTS is such a team focused game that I definitely feel like the synergy and team chemistry and stuff like that is way more important than individual skill. Like if you have one star player, I don't think it really generally matters that much unless the meta really favors them. So it's mostly just team stuff, I think.
I'd agree. I think you guys have a really good blend of both. That's why I'm concerned as a Team Freedom fan that you guys are going to be really dominant this year. I think it's a good combination of both. All right. Now, we've already kind of touched on that. So here we go. This is a good one. How do you feel about the increasing mobility trend for heroes, or also known as mobility creep, with heroes like Genji coming into the meta with their hypermobility?
I think in general it's good because it gives you more of an opportunity to make flashy plays that until somewhat recently wasn't so much of a thing in HOTS. I think it's good because it's a high skill cap. I think mobility is one of the most impactful things in the game. So I think all of it is good besides if you count Lucio speed as mobility, because that should be deleted. Everything else I think is really good though.
Oh man.
What do you have against Lucio, man?
The speed is just stupid. It's like there's nothing else in the game that's even comparable to that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's super dumb. It's like he actually just counters both his boop and then he just also has the move speed thing. He counters tanks because you can literally interrupt the rotations by yourself and you never are under threat of dying ever.
Right.
So he's pretty much just, you don't have a tank, like, oh, you picked a stun tank. Well, no, you didn't. So that's how it works in like the early game. But then he also just counters every single melee hero in the game because you have permanent 20% move speed. So you just are always faster. So you can actually never play your hero. He's just really broken, I'm pretty sure. Like, I think anyone who plays tank or melee would agree that he's probably the most broken hero in the game just because of that.
I mean, to be fair, he wasn't in the meta for a while. It's just recently that he kind of like became a mainstay again, right?
I mean, he's been getting he wasn't like high priority in the draft, but he's been getting picked for quite a while.
Yeah. All right. Where did I leave off? How many tanks are currently viable in the meta, if you had to say, off the top of your head?
Probably most of them. Trying to think if there's any that are wildly not viable. Probably almost all of them are viable. The only ones that probably wouldn't be would be like like Rexar, but that doesn't count.
Yeah, Rexar definitely doesn't count.
Like, I was gonna say that, but it's probably not fair to call him a tank.
Yeah, no, I think they're all.
Misha's not a tank.
Oh, they're all pretty good. Probably just there was one that I was thinking about that is probably bad, but I don't remember who he is. I just forgot. Look quick.
I mean, tank plays in a pretty good spot right now, right? Like Anubrek's good, Diablo's got his spot, ETC's great again, Muradin's good.
No, you know why tanks aren't great right now? We still don't have Reinhardt.
Oh no.
Oh.
I feel like that would be So annoying.
I want Reinhardt so bad, it's not even funny. Oh my god, it would be awesome. But if they did it right. If they did it bad, yeah, probably not. But if they did it right, Reinhardt could be great.
I think it'd be fun. I don't really like him in Overwatch, but I like him in HOTS.
Yes.
I think that's a good transition question. So, what character from any universe would you like to see released in this game in any role? It doesn't matter. Like, what character are you most looking forward to?
I want a Pit Lord. I don't care which Pit Lord it is, but I want one.
So
Nice.
Manaroth,
That's what
whatever
I was thinking of.
whatever that dude was from BC.
Yeah, just one of the big dudes with the I don't know what you call it, even like pole arm thing.
Pole arm, yeah. That'd be sweet. I agree. That would be pretty sweet. I don't know if that's what I'd pick. I don't know what I'd pick off the top of my head. Anyways, not important. Will we ever see Medivh Diablo from Roll20 again? 22-0, man. Never forget.
If it's good in the meta, then yeah.
Okay.
I think we will.
Dansky's a beast Medivh, so I think it can happen, man. All right.
Wait, I have to comment.
Right,
I loved watching Korean teams give you guys Diablo Medivh. What was it? I think that was Black, wasn't it? And like they didn't even know what hit them, and it was the greatest match I'd ever watched. I was like, "This is why would you give them this? Like, really? Do you guys not know what you signed up for?" It's awesome.
Yeah, I remember that was like way back, and they banned Vala, and we were just like laughing. We're like, "Wait, they don't know what's going on." Like.
Yes.
At all.
That was my favorite hands down match because it was like you could tell they had no idea what was coming their way, and they let you guys walk right into Diablo Medivh, and it was just like, what, like really, guy? All right, man, this is gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah.
22-0, never forget, man. That's NA Hots' Bunker Hill or something. So it's a great time. It's a great time to be a Heroes, man. It's a great time to be alive. Do you guys think Dyrus will ever sub in again for an HGC team? I'm assuming that Heroes will have to do another event like they did with the former League pros. Or do you think that the scene has become too competitive for that to ever happen again?
I mean, the scene has probably become too competitive for us to be able to win doing that again. I don't expect that to be a thing. That was kind of just a one-time thing. It was just like, hey, we like Dyrus. Do you want to play in the HGC for a match? Like, well, all right. It's like, I don't think that'll happen again.
I mean, let's be honest, too. In that match, they didn't, like, Dyrus plays 2 heroes, and they didn't ban either of them. Like, you could have easily just taken Dahak away, or I think he also played Leoric that week. Yeah. Like, ban either of them, and he's hosed, right? Like, what are you going to do? Yeah. We take Dahaka and ban Leoric. Good luck. GG, right? Like, so it was fun watching. It was fun watching you guys. Glaurong streamed comms that night. That was like, I had a blast listening to you guys play, just because pros tend to not stream comms, which I totally get, but it was fun to be able to like see that side of things, even though I think there was more Dyrus do this, Dyrus do that night than probably other stuff. So when you guys have a scrim block that is like chill and not as crazy, and you don't mind letting people see, if you guys could stream that again, that would be awesome, because I had more fun watching that than I had watching any other. Like, I like watching pros stream, but it's not the same as getting to see you know, like the behind the scenes. Yeah, we're in scrims and we're totally streaming it from our point of view. You know what I mean? So anyway, sorry.
You don't get to see the Great Wizard of Oz behind the curtain very often.
Right.
So all right, moving on. Do you are you excited for your D&D session tomorrow on the Roll20 app?
It was rescheduled, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah, I believe our dungeon master is sick.
Oh, bummer. All right, well.
And you can see what time it's rescheduled soon on the Roll20 Twitter, I think.
That's a good plug. That was really strong. I'm proud of you.
I don't think they announced when it is yet. It's like coming soon.
Oh, now Yipos is saying canceled though, so it may even be canceled. Oh man, well then the next questions don't master. Oh my god. Smiley, what are you doing to me? They don't matter. All right, so we can skip those two.
All right. One of the fans wants to know if they will see a return of the man bun. You know, when you had those luscious locks before you chopped them off. Is there a chance?
Probably not. If I did, it would probably be a while because my hair is pretty short.
Your hair is pretty short now.
Yeah, I don't think so. It was very annoying for many reasons.
A lot of maintenance.
Yeah, it made me hate taking showers because you're not supposed to wash it with hot water. You're supposed to use cold water if you have like super long hair. Otherwise,
Right.
it like kills your hair. And then, so I would just like hide in the back of the shower for like 10 minutes trying to like. It was terrible. It was just absolutely awful. And then also, it's like you're carrying around like a small animal on your head everywhere you go, but it's like not cool. It like doesn't do anything. It just sits there and weighs down your head. You like feel it's just terrible. It's not worth it.
I feel you.
I mean, I have no hair, so I totally get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not long hair.
All right. All right. That's fair. I'm sure there's an HGC fan out there who's absolutely crushed right now, but hey, not everyone could be happy. Now let's talk about some in-game stuff. What's your opinion on the current Hero League placement debacle? Disaster. Crisis.
Knowing that you are a paid person from Blizzard, so you can temper your statement.
I mean, Hero League's never really been good, so I don't really care, to be honest. Like,
That's a good answer.
It's whatever. You're in there for mechanical practice, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it really affected me. I just had to do my placements again. That's pretty much it. They've got a lot of stuff going on, so I don't know. They can figure it out when they can. But we had like we talked with the devs at one point, and like they're working on it. They've got a lot of stuff going on. So
right.
yeah.
Well, it's a horrible time of the year for that to happen too, right?
Yeah.
People take Christmas vacation and New Year's vacation. Like that's how it works. And like to have something like this happen now, it's rough. I get it.
Yeah.
Do you think that Blizzard should do anything to compensate for these issues? And I guess this is Dorsh's question. I remember this. And why is it 10 free loot boxes? That seems a little one-sided, Dorsh.
I think it's 10 free loot boxes.
There you go, man.
More loot. All right. Now, you already kind of touched on it, but what's the difference between playing tank in Hero League versus playing tank in a competitive environment where you're on a team with comms? Like, what's the difference between playing tank in scrims and matches and just riding solo in Hero League, man?
It's completely different. In Hero League, you can pretty much stun anyone whenever, and maybe you'll have follow-up, maybe you won't. Maybe the Leeming behind you will just watch, or maybe she'll throw a combo with the minion wave when you stun them. So, like, it doesn't really matter, honestly, in Hero League. You can kind of just, like, I don't know, just do whatever you want, and it's like, sure. In scrims, it's totally different. Like, you step out too far, you will get punished, you will die. You show ever when you shouldn't show, and the other team will punish your team somehow. It's a lot about, in scrims, it's a lot about knowing where you can actually get stuff done, and also playing, like, the vision game is really important in competitive, whereas, like stopping people from rotating, watching rotations, staying out of vision so people are like afraid of ganks top and bottom, stuff like that. Whereas in Hero League, that's not a thing at all. You can just kind of go wherever you want. And also, it's, I don't know, you're relied upon a lot more in scrims, because especially if you have like follow-up for stuns, if you don't hit those stuns or you hit them on the wrong targets, you'll get punished and you won't get any kills. Like, nothing good will happen. So it's definitely, it's just a way different game.
All right. I think that's fair. I think a lot of people already knew that, but they wanted to hear it coming from you. Now, as someone who's played a lot of Hero League, what are 2 things that every player can do to play better in Hero League? If you had to say.
Find a team and play some stuff as a team. That's usually, I don't know.
That's a good answer.
Is a lot of times people ask about like what you can do to get better, and I guess it depends what your goal is, because you could play Hero League like 18 hours a day and you're not going to be ready for scrims. Like, nothing but competitive can like prepare you for that, and if you do play competitive, then you'll be a lot more aware of what you're doing in Hero League, because like there'll be times where like I'll do something wrong and I'll know it was wrong and I'll expect myself to die, but I won't die because it's Hero League. So I'll be like, I'll take note of that, and I'll be like, yeah, that was that was bad. I shouldn't have done that. Like, I should have died, and I know I should have died. But, like, if you aren't paying attention to that, or, like, you don't know that you should have died, then you just get bad habits from that. So I feel like there's really no replacement for, like, competitive stuff.
I feel like I should have made that the last question because that segued so great into amateur stuff, but I didn't. So, like, missed opportunity. Go ahead, Bahgz.
All right, we're winding down here, Justin. I've only got a couple questions left for you. What made you decide to play tank?
I don't know if I really decided to play tank as much as we needed a tank, and it was hard for me to tell someone else in my amateur team to engage when it made sense. So I didn't really want to play tank, to be honest. Like, initially it was like I started playing the game and I was an Abathur one trick. So if I was able to play Abathur, that'd be sick. And I used to play it like way back when we were on an amateur team, when I was on THC. But so I was an Abathur one trick, and then I quit playing the game for a bit, and I came back, and then I was a Sonya one trick, and then I pretty much just transitioned into a tank player. I was a flex initially, but pretty much I was trying to shot call, and it's really hard to tell a tank to do stuff, to engage and disengage and stuff like that. So I pretty much just had to become a tank, and then now I'm just always tanking forever.
Now I'm always tanking forever. That's kind of how it works.
Yeah, pretty much.
Listen, man, you're great at the job, so I mean, hopefully you enjoy it enough to keep doing it, I guess.
Yeah.
How do you guys handle nerves when competing in big tournaments? Now, you've competed in a couple of big ones now. You competed in the very first Western Clash, Midseason Brawl, missed out in the second Western Clash, but then you went to BlizzCon and now GCWC. I'd imagine the very, very first Clash was probably like your first time competing in a LAN that big, or at least out of the country. But go ahead, tell us how that was, or at least tell us what tournament you were the most nervous for and how you handled it.
It's a little weird, but well, I mean, it makes sense. I haven't really felt too nervous besides like my very first stuff. Like, I remember in April 2016 when I went to my first LAN, it was DreamHack Austin, and we weren't even playing on stage. We were on like a backstage, and our first match was against Cloud9, and they were like the champs or whatever. Yeah. So I was pretty nervous. So like, and then also I played with like 3.2k DPI, so really high mouse sensitivity, and they didn't have armrests on the chairs. Oof. So I could like barely land skill shots anyways, and I had to play Muradin, and then also I was super nervous, so I'm just like shaking at my computer, like trying to land Stormbolts. It was really awful. But I remember a lot of the lands, like the first lands way back then, I was pretty nervous, and I think I, for the most part, just got over it from just doing it a lot. It kind of changes from being so much nerves as just like you kind of turn it into like sort of adrenaline sometimes once you get used to it.
Yeah.
You take it more seriously. Like now, for the most part, I'll just like sit down. I'll maybe like quickly like look around a bit, but I like sit down and then I'll just like focus on the screen really hard. And then I don't really think about the audience or like that I'm there or anything like that. More recently though, for whatever reason in the games, like the set against Fnatic, I think I felt nerves for the first time in a long time, just because I think like I knew that we could win, and like how important it would be if we did win. So like it felt like there was more pressure on that set for some reason, just because it felt like winning was definitely possible, and we were really close for most of the game. But then I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I definitely felt nerves in that game, but I think I worked that out through the rest of the tournament. So yeah, pretty much just like deep breathing stuff is probably the best thing for nerves. Just like slow, long, like rhythm breathing.
Right.
Take the edge off a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, and making sure you don't pop off too hard, because if you win a game and you start screaming, your hands are gonna be shaking for the rest of the set, and then you won't be able to push any buttons.
Oh, wait. Or what about what if you like go cold turkey on caffeine and then you have some the same day? Does that because when I do that, like if I don't have coffee for like a couple of days, or like I don't have any Red Bull, because I'm a Red Bull fan, and then like I have some, and especially if I have it on an empty stomach, I get really like jittery.
Yeah, that'll happen. You typically want to make sure that you're used to caffeine. You don't want to not drink caffeine for like 3 weeks before you play, and you also don't want to yell and jump up and down in between games, because otherwise it's really hard to push your buttons.
Right.
That was actually a real thing, though. The like caffeine timing is actually a real thing. Like, because I was pretty jet lagged for one of our sets. I think it was against Dignitas. That was one of the earlier sets. I think it was like our second match. So we were all pretty jet lagged, and I think I drank like way too much caffeine to try to compensate for that because I was like feeling really tired, and I'm like, I don't want to play bad. So then I was actually like, I felt pretty stupid. Like, I definitely was a little shaky because I had so much caffeine on top of like my body dying from jet lag. So that was like the one that it doesn't help. Like, any nerves will just get exacerbated. I don't know.
That's the word.
Can't...
That's the word you're looking for. You got it.
Well, so like, I'm forced to ask because the jumping up and down, screaming. I mean, and Balin in chat pointed out. I mean, Laurong was known for doing that. Was he shaking after, or like, could he like? He seemed like he handled it because he did it all the time.
All
right.
The comms on Tomb before the game started was, we can give the first turn in. All we need to do is soak the lane and do not die. And he died at like 50 seconds into the game, so I'm pretty sure he had some shaking going on or something. I don't know.
Right. Okay.
Screaming doesn't help. Like, that was the thing that I noticed even for myself in China, is if you like, celebrating is fine when like the game's done, but like, even if you, I don't know, getting excited at all, just you have to try to keep it down, because otherwise you will get like kind of shaky. Like, if your heartbeat gets up too much, because it is really high pressure. Like, it happens a lot faster. Like, you can't, like, it's not always good to get super loud, because sometimes you just kind of play off adrenaline at that point and just do stupid stuff.
Right. Okay.
I hear you. Keep a level head. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Now, last question for you. I'm going to ask you to put your developer's hat on for this one. One of our fellow editors asked, if you could change one thing about the game, what would you change as you adjust your murky hood?
Oh, just one thing?
Yeah, just one.
I had a list of things.
Go right down the list, man. Just do it.
They're not.
The world wants to hear your thoughts on it, so let's do it.
I have them on my phone. I was supposed to send them to the devs, but instead I'm using them now. Here.
Oh, this is great. We can send them a link to the video.
Yeah,
that's what it is to us.
They're not. Got it somewhere. Right, I'm not really sure where it is. It's super easy though. Basically, I just want oh, here we go. All right, I would like performance. Oh, this is just a note. Performance-based MMR will never work for tanks. That's not a thing I want changed. I just don't want it in the game.
Yes.
For tanks, it won't work at all, ever, unless they literally get like Elon Musk to program some super AI that just knows exactly how tanks should play, because it won't work otherwise. I want a checkbox so that I can have infinite queues that ensure I get good games. I want to be able to check a box and just not get it.
They have that. They have that in what is it? It's like Battlerite or something like that.
Yeah,
you can do
yeah,
that.
Battlerite has that. Yeah.
I saw that.
Take longer to find me a better game.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'd like that as a feature. I want the map scroll speed to go higher than 100%. Where right now, where like you move the mouse to the side of the screen and it'll shift your camera. I want that to be higher than 100%. I don't think that's fast enough because it's not. I want to be able to like just look. I don't want to go to the mini map to look around the map. I want to just be able to quickly like slap the top of my screen and go up really far.
Yeah.
I want an option to have hero names over player names, because in competitive it's actually a huge problem. I'm on stage and I see 4 heroes in a mosh pit. I see the Vala, but I mean, there's a bunch of stuff going on. I'm yelling the name of the Vala. I'm not yelling Vala. I'm probably yelling like whatever the name is, because I can just read it and it's really easy to do that quickly. But when you're in game, you don't really like. I'm not trying to think like, that's a new skin. Who is that again? Like, I'm just gonna say their name because it's right there.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's an interesting problem casters have too, right? When you're casting the game, it's, do I call this the hero or do I call this the player name? If I call the player name, you're not sure why that player has strafe, right? But if I say it's Vala, then you're not. As a viewer, you may not understand that skin is actually Vala's newest skin, and like, so no, I totally get that, and I think competitive should just be hero names. That's a good one.
It was a big deal too, like for our team, because the Freedom players that we got, or the players that we got from Freedom, they were used to playing with hero names only, and we were used to playing with pretty much exclusively player names. So that actually kind of messes stuff up when people are calling like one person's like Vala, and I'm like, I don't know, saying the player name.
Right.
And my final thing is, I don't know if the Blizzard app does this. I don't own it, but I would assume it doesn't. I want an app that will beep at me when my queue pops.
That would be nice. It does not.
Take like 10 minutes plus, and I want to be able to just like have my phone on me and not have to be like, hey, can you text me when my queue pops so I can run back to my computer in time? Like I want to not have to sit at my computer for 10 minutes, like when I could be making food or something to come back to my game.
It's funny you say that. I think I caught that on the post on the post Irish stream. You were streaming, and it was I was right after he hosted you or right before he hosted you. You were sitting in queue and like you walked away to go to the bathroom or something, and the queue popped, or you missed your spot in the draft that you were supposed to ban, and I think you missed the ban.
Yeah.
So we as players have been asking Blizzard to do that since Arena season 3 in World of Warcraft for the same reason. I want to sit in a queue. It's going to take a while to get a good game. Text me, or like at the time the Blizzard app was horrible, so text me, give me an add-on that I can talk to my phone. People did like third-party add-ons in WoW that will actually do it now, but it's not ported and it's like jury-rigged and it's horrible. That would be amazing though, especially if they rolled out the checkbox
for longer queues,
right?
Better games,
right?
You know?
Like you would almost have to have that, right? So. But yeah, that's a good one. I like that. I like all of those, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for my suggestions.
Blizzard, listen to this man. He's got it.
Quick question for you. Permission to clip that section and throw it up on the YouTube?
Right?
Sure.
All right. Permission granted.
Whatever you want.
Yeah,
all right, and with that, Justine, I think we're done with interview questions. We're going to transition to the amateur scene, and you can chime in if you have any comments or thoughts on that. And that'll be that.
So here we go.
And the mastermind storm is awaiting them. Welcome to the paint train.
Kill the boss! Kill the boss! Can they do it? It's too much damage for me! And that's GG!
All right, so just a couple of things in the amateur scene right now. Chair League did just finish its second annual holiday tournament. That wrapped up Saturday with the UNT Eagles beating Brawls Deep 3-0. Chair League's awesome. This plays into what you said earlier, Justin, that like find a team, play with the team, go do amateur stuff. Chair League's out there, Heroes Hype is out there, Nexus Gaming Series is out there. Like there's so many different amateur teams in NA that you can hit up to like join, or not amateur teams but amateur tournaments. Like go do those. They're a blast, and we like to support them because honestly, with a stronger amateur scene, we get a stronger pro scene. There's more players to pick from. The pool gets larger. There's more competition. So it's a big thing for us. But yeah, Chair League just finished theirs. Heroes Hype actually has been taken over with Holiday Spirit. The next two amateur tournaments on 1220 and 1227, both have prizes attached to them. So check those out. They have Match Arena codes and they have Bloody Backer rewards. And HGC Open Division making a couple of minor changes, but one of those is that the Open Division finals will now be a best of 7 with a 1-game advantage to the winner of the upper bracket, which is awesome because that definitely needed to happen. Cool. That's all I got, unless anybody wants to throw something out there.
I got nothing. I think Justin right now is answering the question that just happened in chat there.
Yep.
Aha, he is. So.
Yes, there's definitely a Discord. There's a Open Division Discord. There's a Heroes Hype Discord. There's a Chair League Discord. There's an NG. Like they all have Discords if you check out their websites. Right now, I don't know. Apparently, Nightbot didn't like Yitboss, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put his Discord thing in here. Sorry, man. I got it for you. There you go. I think that's the HGCNA one that also has teams recruiting. Like, there's all sorts of stuff out there. Hit me up on Twitter if you want more. At LiQuidGG. Like, I manage an open team. I'm in like every Discord that is not private out there right now. So like, hit me up. There's lots of them. There, DB Smiley throwing out the Nexus Gaming Series. All right, that's it, man. That's all we have. So I'm going to go ahead and thank you all for listening to Trollin HGC, a weekly podcast about Here's the Storm eSports, a member of the Trolls GG Entertainment Network. We stream live on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrollsGG, every week, usually on Wednesdays following the Nexus Trolls at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Before I go over to Bahgz, Justin, who do you want to shout out tonight?
Shout out to everyone watching for watching the thing.
There you go.
Shout out to our sponsor, Roll20, and for all the fans, everyone who supports me and my team.
Awesome. All right, Bahgz.
People can follow me on Twitter at Bahgz HGC, and you can also watch me stream on twitch.tv/Bahgz. I've got a schedule pinned to the top of the Twitter page. It's the offline picture for the Twitch page. It's a thing now, people. I'm trying to make it happen. Every week I'll try and post a new schedule as I know what I can do, and I'm going to try and stick to it. It's slowly growing. I've got the regulars of the show coming in and watching, and Discord members from the Gankbush Squad and Trolls tuning in. So check it out. As well, if you enjoyed tonight's show and are interested in Blizzard's other esports offerings, consider subscribing to the Weekly Blizz, where my buddy Guaz and I cover all of Blizzard's esports and can be found on all podcast sources. LiQuiuD, where can people find you?
All right, so the best place to follow me is on Twitter at LiQuiuDGG. I tweet whenever I'm about to do anything interesting, including these shows, the Nexus Trolls. I'm going to start streaming in the new year as well, so follow me on Twitter. That's the best place to find me. Finally, thank you to all of our supporters, whether it's on Patreon, Twitch, YouTube, iTunes, anything. Thank you to everybody that follows us, subscribes to us, and leaves comments. Those are, one of the reasons we do the show. We definitely like to reply to any feedback that's sent to us, whether it's on any of those platforms. So definitely shoot us a message, leave us a review, whatever works for you. We love to hear from our listeners and our viewers. You can visit our website at www.trolls.gg to read our articles. We actually have like 5 or 6 writers now, and we also post all of our podcasts there. Finally, if you need to get in touch with us, you can hit us up on Twitter at Trollin HGC or email us trollin@trollsgg. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you in the Nexus.
Justin, thanks for joining. Peace out!